G'day and welcome to the MacPack.
We're back.
My name's Shane McKenna and to my left this week in all the biggest jock on the panel, it's my little brother Joe. How are ya, Joe boy?
Yes, I am the biggest Jack, and I've got the biggest jock strap onto Riley.
And to my right, coming in at 6-1 as it does each and every week as the baby brother of the pack. Who we call Junior Boy. Junior Boy, how are you, mate?
I've never understood why Americans think they need to wear a jock strap to play anything. Just wear your normal undies, guys.
Is that a
Isn't
thing?
that what it is?
It's not doing anything. You don't need to wear a G-banger and play footy.
Oh, the G-banger. I got the G-banger out to get the... Just for aerodynamics. We are kicking things off today by chatting about the Super Bowl. Joey. Joey has told us that he wants to be in charge of that.
Thoughts?
We're also discussing, I've had my car fixed, but there was a bit of an issue that took place. We'll be chatting about that. Bali Advice coming in hot. Joey's got an everyday hero, and we're announcing next week's big guest. It's massive. Let's get into it. Boys.
Bingo.
How are we all? Are we all well?
Super Bowl.
It's Super Bowl day.
It is.
Super
Joey's
Bowl LIVX.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, why do they use the
Roman.
Roman numerals? Looks cool.
It's chill.
It's confusing. That's how I would. Why don't you just like
What's
name it? So
L?
the AFL is just like
L is 50.
2024 Grand Final, where the Super Bowl gets branded completely different, and it's
That's
like
the
it's like who won to 2022? You don't know, but who won in LVXY ZZX?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, every year there's a spike on Super Bowl day for like Roman numeral searches.
Calculation.
So we're trying to figure out which one is this.
I have no idea. It's so hard to comprehend, and it's not even like it doesn't read 2025, which would make even a little bit of sense. It's like the number of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like the one that's most recent one. What are we at? 60 odd? 50 odd? Mid 50s?
50 something. LIV. What's it? Who knows?
LIV.
And do Roman people even play Super Bowl?
Two Roman people play.
Why do
Super
they
Bowl.
call it the Super Bowl? Why is it not just the grand final? They're really extra with it.
Yeah, they go to the playoffs and then they have the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
But in the NBA, they don't have like
And like, there's no
the
bowl.
big basket, the grandioso
yeah, there's
basket.
no. It's not like
The trophy isn't like
isn't
a
a
bowl.
bowl.
It's just.
We should have done some research before we jumped on.
Why?
It's a cool
is the
trophy,
Super
though.
Bowl-
This time next year, you'll have answers. 'Cause we were
LIX. Oh, so it was Super Bowl 59.
there you go.
Next one will be Super Bowl 60.
Well, thanks, Joey.
And the Philadelphia Eagles took the K.
They did. They did.
They were the team I was rooting for since last week when I found out they were going to be in the game.
Huge. Who's your favorite player from the Philadelphia Eagles?
It's got to be best of Philadelphia Eagles. Now, my favorite player is the Aussie guy.
Oh, yes.
He's Australian Samoan, and I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah,
Dare I
no,
say.
you're all right. You're all right. I
He's
forgot his
good.
name as
Also,
well.
Cam Mahomes, is he on that team?
No, he's the Chiefs.
Damn.
And
He
that's,
was-
not
And
his
it's Patrick
name. Yeah.
Mahomes.
Who's Cam?
No, Cam's the
Hey,
Aussie guy.
Yeah, Cam
Oh,
is. Yeah, sorry.
okay.
Slipped my mind. But
Cam.
No,
Mahomes.
Cam isn't the Aussie guy. Jordan.
Jordan Malata, yeah, that's the
Who's
name.
Cam?
I don't know. I just briefly read an article.
Cam
That
Mahomes.
name stuck.
All right.
But the Super Bowl, it's a massive day, and I like it when the team that wins comes from a city which is a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I was rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles.
There's
Philly.
been a huge celebration. It's not too dissimilar when we were in Collingwood.
Yeah.
When Collingwood got up. They're starting fires. They're punching on with each other in the streets. It's the place to be.
Yeah, and there's a very famous, it's become a rallying cry for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a slogan called Grease the Poles. Are you guys
Right.
familiar with greasing the
Oh,
poles?
So when you climb the pole, you slide down.
Yeah, it's because
Die.
they have an issue where too many people climb all the poles on.
Like light posts.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Flag posts.
Like they get well up there. So the mayor has to come out in
Grease
like,
the pole.
yeah, like they're just up. Yeah, and this guy's not even that high.
That's what you instruct everyone to do when you go out on a big night. Don't you?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Joey's
on.
coming out.
So
Grease
they-
the poles.
They had like the mayor workers out this.
greasing the
Just
poles.
lathering
Yeah.
the poles.
So that
Stop
they
it from
slip.
getting up.
So that they slip
Well,
down
so you
the
can't
poles.
climb it, yeah.
Right.
And even on some of them, the grease went all the way to the top.
Oh my days.
These guys must be the best climbers in the world.
Impressive. Surely it's more dangerous
Yeah,
to
it's-
grease the poles than it
How's
is
that
just
guy
to let,
getting down?
than it is just to let them get up the pole.
Yeah, but I love that it's like the rallying cry is like the city needs to stop us from partying.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, we should have something like that. I like how here it's like when Frio like makes the finals or even like wins a couple games in a row.
Flag
Like, they'll
mantle.
paint the cappuccino strip purple.
They haven't done that since they were in the grand final. I don't think they're doing
Yeah,
it.
it's
They're
been
get on a 3-game streak in the
been
city of
12
Freo.
years.
Well, it has
Freo
to
Massive
say-
are going off. Where's the paint? Everyone get your paint out.
But I do love that. It's like so like you're so into it, and then it's like they lose, and it's like
Shit, please rain.
all that paint for nothing.
They showed on Fox Footy. I've been watching because the seasons are nearly upon us. We'll be giving our predictions in a couple of weeks for the footy season. But on Fox, they've been showing all sorts of old games, and I've been watching them on the stream. And they had that Fremantle Dockers grand final on only yesterday, and they continually shot to the coverage. The coverage continually shot back to the strip.
The
And, like,
cappuccino strip.
Yeah, and there
Metros.
was thousands of people just standing on the road. They must have put a TV up or something. Otherwise, these people, or maybe it was the scoreline was so hectic that they were all hoping to get hit by a bus, but they were all standing in the middle of the street.
That's
I don't
cool.
remember it being that hectic at the time, but it must have been.
Yeah, I love that. Love when the town gets around them, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they get their hopes crushed.
And then they lose.
But so here, obviously in Australia, sports gambling, it's old hat. It's been around.
Yeah,
But in the US, it's become a thing recently.
yeah.
It's been legalized. And let me tell you, they love it.
What do you mean? Was it not legalized?
Previously, you had to go into casinos, so you actually had to go into, let's say, the equivalent to being like Crown, but you wouldn't even have to go into like your local one. You had to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So like it would be the equivalent of if you want to put money on, let's say Jordan De Goey, round 1 to have 25 disposals, you got to fly to Melbourne, put that bet on, and then fly back home. Probably not worth the while, wouldn't have thought.
That's so cringe.
But now recently, only in the last couple of years, they've
Yeah,
got like FanDuel and stuff like that, and they can make
Legalized
legalized bets on their legalized bets on their phone and on their computers and whatnot. Online gambling.
But I was talking about it at work with a friend, and he said that his mate had put on a novelty bet.
Huge.
The novelty bet. We all love a big novelty bet. And there was some controversy because he put $100 on, which is paying $5 for any one of the players to cry during the national anthem,
Oh wow.
All right.
which is apparently it's happened 4 of the last 5 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he was like, come
That's
on,
cool.
it's a classic bet. And then you're watching.
Yeah.
And also I did see the national anthem. It went for 1:59.
Which
It
was
would have been a lot of people who had on.
on the overs.
Yeah, but even people are like, in 2 minutes,
yeah.
you know. So this guy, pans across to see all the players, all these big burly men listening to John Bastine or whatever the guy
Wasn't the best edition today.
Yeah.
There's been some rippers over the journey, but today's, I don't know. Could have
It's a hard
slept
one
through
to
it.
sing.
It is tough.
So the camera pans around, just like the toughest men you'll ever see.
yeah, yeah.
And there was one man who he brings up a tissue and
Oh,
wipes his eye.
he brought a tissue?
Yeah, he had a
That's-
tissue.
that's
He knew he
sus.
was feeling it.
That's a man who's put a punt on himself.
Yeah, that's a man who's told his whole
Waited
family
for the camera to come up to him
to
and
put
then
the life
pull the
savings
tissue.
on.
And then he winked.
So your mate got up.
Well, he did not. It was not paid out
Oh.
because in the stipulations of the bet, it said that the tear must be seen on cheek.
Visible tear.
Which
we need
is
a visible
what?
tear
That is
drop.
not a cry. That is a weep at that point. That is
Yeah.
too. If that happened, then I feel like $5 is. You need a lot more than that.
That has to run
You're
down
crying,
your face.
like,
Yeah.
Properly, like everyone wells up occasionally. You know,
I
You
will
hear
up
a
when I
nice
hear the
joke.
Star Spangled
Yeah.
Banner.
I well up if
sometimes.
the smallest thing brings me joy in this harrowing life that I live. But to wipe it away and not get the cheek,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like that's
heartbreaking.
pretty rough.
That is
Actually,
tough.
I'm crying thinking about it.
So no payout.
No payout, no.
Damn.
Which is enough to bring tears to your eyes.
Alrighty, boys. I've mentioned a few times over the last couple of weeks that having a little bit of a car issue.
That's right.
Car troubles.
Hottest time of the year. Jake's having aircon issues.
Yeah, and the air conditioner's just like conked out on itself. It had a small revival at one point where it conked out initially, and then I was like, "Oh, well, this is over." And then just like a ghost, just turned back on again, like because I left it on. The air conditioner hadn't worked, and I just left it
Oh,
on.
right.
And
fair
just
enough.
just
Placebo.
praying. Just hoping and praying.
Oh, we're getting a bit chilly.
And then midway through a drive once, it just went and just started blowing air again. And I was
It's
No
a
like,
death rattle.
but anyway, I'm trying to go get my car fixed at the moment, and I took it to I won't name the place, but it's like a automotive area.
A mechanic.
Yeah, no, but they specialize in this sort of thing, I believe. Like,
Okay, auto electrician.
yes, that's the word. And so I've decided to go there on one of the days, so they said, come in, right?
Yep.
Drive in, and knowing that I needed to get home, so Taylor was going to
Yeah, you had to live.
pick me up and take me home. So I drive there, right? I'm driving there, and I have to park in the car park, right? That's not even the funny bit.
Wait, so you drive there and you park your car in the car.
But
You had to get home at some
but the issue is, when I drove my car to park in the car park, I had to park next to two cars, right?
Yep.
But the car to my left had parked like an absolute spud,
Right.
and he was like halfway in my lane.
Yeah,
okay.
That was just.
I hate it. I hate when that happens and then you park like to correct for them. And
Yeah.
then they leave.
Well, I had to park
You
to
look
get.
like
I had to park to get in, because if I had parked where I had parked, his door would basically be
Yeah.
in my window, so I'd no longer be going in for the issue I had. I'd have to go in for the fucking the new door that I've got. So I parked on the piss, right?
Yep.
And then I walk
And you
in.
were heavily drunk.
And I walk in and hand the young man my keys and tell him who I am.
Yeah.
And I say, obviously, my name. I'm Jake McKenna. And he looks down and then like glances up at me.
And he goes, no
And
way.
like with all this shock in his eye. And I'm like, you must have heard me from my car troubles across WA for the last month. And he looked at me and goes, Jake McKenna. I said, yeah, man. And he goes, yeah, I know a Jake McKenna. And I said, is it me? Like, what do you say to that? So he has a friend. He goes, no, he's like a good friend of mine, but yeah, it's not you.
Wait, there's another
Wait,
Jake
that's
McKenna who
weird,
lives
yeah.
in Perth.
Yeah, like this guy's one of his best mates. He's
How
like,
old is this
How
guy?
old is this guy?
Like, he looked like not too old, not too much older than me. I'd say maybe 32 at an absolute push, right? So within a 5
bit
year,
older, yeah.
within a 5 year period.
Okay, I found him.
Like that would
It's a
be
lot.
Is
It's
it
a lot.
doxing
There's
if
a
it's your
few.
name?
It's a bit peculiar because I've never met.
That's the coolest dog I've ever seen. I found his Facebook
It
post.
might
Yeah.
not be him. There's
Link
a
in
few.
bio.
Been stung by a bee.
Oh my god, it's very hard. So that was a peculiar thing from from the
Put
outset.
the photo on the screen.
That's going to be Jake's face for the rest of the episode.
So peculiar thing from the outset to be told that I am not
You're his
necessarily
friend.
that I am not necessarily the Jake McKenna that he wanted to deal with, right? Hand him the keys. He tells me to come back a couple of hours later. They'll get the thing fixed up, right? No worries.
That's huge.
I've given them the keys, and now I'm waiting for Taylor to come and pick me up. And as
Yep.
I'm walking back to where my car is parked for her to come and pick me up, I look at my car, and as you made mention to earlier,
Horrible park.
horrible. But my car, I was a bit embarrassed. I was like, oh, my car looks so fucked here when I got out of the car, but there was nothing I could do about it, right? Now when I've walked back to go and get picked up at the same spot, my dear friend who made me park in that stupid position has disappeared.
Oh,
So
no.
now my car just looks like fucked. Like it might as well
Yeah.
be just bashed up against the other car.
Maybe that guy.
Like you're like hypotenusing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in the wrong. Like
Maybe
I'm on a huge bow,
Maybe
right?
there was a guy who parked there before the other guy that made the other guy park like this. And it's a continuous domino.
There was
Yeah.
no. I would agree with you, but there was no other bay. It was cement pylon. at
Maybe
that
the
point.
cement was on
On the
on an
thing.
angle.
Anyway, so now I'm feeling a bit embarrassed because I know nothing about cars, so it's already a little bit out of my
Yeah.
realm.
Now they think you can't park.
Exactly.
Or they know you can't.
Because they don't have the reference of the other car to see how fucked.
Yeah, you almost need to do like a chalk outline of
This is
where that car was.
Exactly. And that was the other thing. What I'd worked out was I was going to mention to him at the time, this guy who knew Jake McKenna. I was going to say my car's a bit parked on the piss, but it's because of the guy.
Yeah.
And I was
Bearing the lead.
I was just about to say it, and then that guy walked in, and I was aware of who that guy
Oh.
was because he was still in his car. So I can't then turn around and be and he's parked like an absolute fuckwit. So my car's on the piss. So I just had to leave, pride in my socks.
Yeah, because they also at the car shop they have to move your car.
Yeah, and so he had
He's
then
going,
moved.
"Oh,
He
look
had
at
then
this
moved his
moron."
car to another
No
spot.
wonder his car doesn't work.
Anyway, so I go home, no worries, and then I have to come back at some point. They give me a call.
Yep.
The bloke calls me, goes, "Is this Jake?" And I said, "Yeah, man." And he goes,
I know a Jake.
and he goes, "Yeah, you brought the car in." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he goes, "Yeah, we have no idea what's wrong with it, eh? Not a clue." So, yeah, you can come pick it up anytime. I was like, fucking fantastic. He more or less said, go to the maker of the car and see if they'll fix it up.
Go and see your dealer.
And then he told me that would cost me a fucking arm and a leg. No worries. And
Did they charge you?
Well, kindly enough, they didn't because they couldn't diagnose it. Which was quite, in my research, quite a rare thing. Usually, like, it doesn't matter if they can find it or not, or if they've even fucking looked. They'll just charge you like a diagnosis rate per hour, which is usually
fair enough
in the hundreds. But these guys, very lovely, didn't do it, right? So I don't have a lift back to the place because it's midday. So I make my walk. So I walk there. It would have been about 30,
it was a hot day.
39 degrees. I had to walk about 3.5 k's to go and get my car from this place. I walk back into the place, sweating my absolute nipple off, and I just put
like a wet towel wrapped around your head.
3.5.
Yeah, when he told me this,
I told Joe this.
he was like, "Yeah, I walked
like
to get it."
$7.
I was like, "Today, it's like
You
insane."
should have got the penny board out of something.
Well, I usually go for a little walk in the morning, and I didn't do it this morning. So
Yeah, because it was so hot.
yeah, but anyway, I was doing it at 2 p.m. The hottest part of the day.
I would never do that.
Didn't have lunch. Just went for a walk instead.
So you walk from where you are
Yeah.
up to like around where like all the fast food places
Yeah,
are.
the
where
KFC.
near
Yeah.
the freeway.
It's a long walk.
You go from where you
Jake
live.
was walking down the middle of the freeway in a fugue state.
It was really hot, and I normally have a little bit bad vision. Like I'm not wearing glasses at the moment, but I can't really see much.
Especially with the mirage.
The mirage is
Dehydration.
Those mirages are blurry, I swear.
And so I took my sunnies off, right? When I walk into, I arrive,
Yeah.
I'm sweating. I take my sunnies off, which are the new prescription sunnies.
Yeah.
Take them off. Can't see a
Don't
fucking
say.
thing.
Hello?
And they're probably thinking, oh, they're probably thinking, oh, this is a good excuse for like the terrible parking. This bloke is legally blind. And I chat to the guy for a while, and I'm sweating. Like I'm quite warm. I've been
Yeah.
walking for like half an hour.
You said see-through.
He's explaining to me like the issue that he couldn't fix with my car and telling me next steps. And I just remember
Rich coming from the guy who has no idea what's wrong. Yeah.
I remember walking out of the room, and to explain how like disorientated I was, I walked out, and he said, "Okay, man, no worries. See you soon." Right? And I walked out, and I like back turned to him, but like loudly shouted. In such a, as you mentioned, fugue state from dehydration, that when I shouted back, I shouted, well, he goes, "All right, man, thanks so much for coming in. We'll see you soon." And I said, "You too."
Nice.
Thinking
Yeah.
that he was going to go with, "You have a good day."
Yeah.
And I said, "You too." And I
See
just
you
was
soon.
was
Weird
it-
thing to say.
very weird thing to say. I put my
Sounds
son-
like he did something to your car, which will cause issues in 3 to 6 months.
I walk over to my vehicle after having not had it all day, having to walk this distance, having to had the awkward interaction at the parking, having to had the awkward interaction with the young man who thought he knew me, didn't know me. Walk over to my car, and there is a parking ticket on my vehicle from the parking inspector, who must patrol the area pretty regularly.
Wait, what?
Because they'd been working on the vehicle in the spot. And then, unfortunately, in the 1 hour that they had stopped working on it and parked it, someone had walked over and given it a parking fine.
What? You can dispute that.
You didn't park it.
I didn't park it. I hadn't seen the car in ages.
can
It was in a
easily
different spot to where I had parked it.
Yeah.
Actually, they'd moved it. They were embarrassed by how it was parked.
Wait,
You
what kind
could
of
get out of
mechanic
that.
has a...
Yeah, you
Shouldn't they have a bay where you can park?
definitely can get out of that.
So I just grabbed the thing, and then in
Threw
my
it.
mind, I was like, well, I guess I got to walk back in there and chat to my friend who I just embarrassed myself in front of. Walk back in there, hand him the thing, and he very politely goes, "Mate, we get these all the time. I'll give the bloke a call and tell him to go fuck himself."
Yeah.
And then we were all done. Alrighty, we made mention to it last week on the podcast that Junior Boy's going away. He's going to Bali come Saturday, so the day after this one comes out. Don't worry, everyone. We're going to explain to you what we're going to do next week because we've already got one in the can. As we mentioned, a very special guest coming on the podcast next week that we have pre-recorded specifically with this trip in mind.
The magic of podcasting.
But it is Riley's first time going international ever.
That's right. First time I've go to the international airport.
And you don't have this, like, the security of going with family or, like, I would say a more conservative approach if you were traveling with, like, your girlfriend or like I did with my girlfriend and her family when I went to Bali.
Yeah, yep.
You're going with your mates.
The lads.
Just 8 boys just doing it, you know?
Just doing
traveling.
A full send.
Yeah,
Going all
full
in on
send.
Bali.
That's it, man. What else would you want to do?
And so we have asked the people to get in contact and share their tips, their tricks, their things that Riley should be.
Because it is a third world country after all. So it's quite
it's
the
not
place to go the first time you leave home soil.
Yes,
Yes.
it's not going down south.
No.
It's going up north.
And
by far.
I'm meant to be going for a trip to Bali in May, potentially.
Must be
I've got to
very
work out
nice.
with amongst my calendar if I'm going to go or not.
Yeah, you got to see if we fucking approve it.
And second to that, I need to make sure I'm going to enjoy it. So your trip is going to work as a bit of a test case.
A litmus.
And if you have a terrible time, I will probably not be going.
I remember, didn't you say you would never go back?
Yeah,
Because last time you went, you got BB.
we will get into that. But yeah, I hate the place. I'm on record saying I hate the place. I think it's terrible.
That'll be me.
Me and Tim spoke about this when we went over to Sydney because he was like, "Oh, you guys go to Bali a bit because we live in Perth," and we said it's a fucking tip, and he goes, "Oh, I couldn't agree more." Now, so we asked the people to get in.
I love our Indonesian listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing about the
absolutely.
listeners.
Good on 'em.
They've got good ears.
Oh, yeah, they're lovely people.
Just a
Obviously, just
horrible
I wouldn't pay money to go there.
Yeah.
Or go there if someone paid for me to go there, probably, to be honest. Now, what we've got here is some of the fantastic people who do listen to the podcast have got in
Yes.
contact, and they have shared some fantastic tips and tricks for Riley Boy. Not many of these are positive.
Well, we did ask for tips. The tips isn't have a great time and do this.
Yeah,
It's usually
that's-
things to look out for.
Yeah.
Well, okay. With that in mind, preface it with this. Kickflip Skateboard said, drink all the water you can and take drugs from strangers. So,
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
I was already going to do that.
I like that. I like him. He has a positive can-do attitude. As I can do whatever I want.
Mr. Troy J said, don't eat anything.
Yeah, that's also on the agenda.
Barley belly is literally death.
Oh, wow. Okay. See, I've
but-
had diarrhea twice in the last 3 weeks.
You had mandra belly.
Mandra belly,
I had
that's
mandra
right.
belly and I had
And that's only 40 minutes.
Cade's cooking belly.
What was Kate cooking?
Treats
Maybe your
Spaghetti,
body will be so
Acclimatized.
used to this stuff.
That's the thing,
You know,
I-
like how people who live in Bali, they can drink the water, right?
Yeah, well, once you've acclimatized
Yeah.
yourself. People who are Australian and have lived there for long enough, you become prone to it.
That's disgusting.
I wouldn't.
The journey there is not worth it.
Yeah, I would hope that you must the
What do they do?
alternative
Do they
must be so
microdose?
bad. The alternative to that must be so bad.
Yeah, imagine if you lived there all your life and you still had Bali belly. Because they probably just
Maybe
call
they
it
don't
belly.
even drink the water. Maybe we've made that up. But that can't be. Balinese people who were born in Bali must be.
I've always
depend on
heard that
your
they
They love the shit.
yeah, it's like they guzzle it down like it's water.
Funny that. Jev, our good friend Jev, said orange water and lots of it.
Orange water.
What's orange? Is that like hydrolyte?
Hydrolysis?
It's like a hydrolyte drink?
Gatorade?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I've been told red cordial is the way to go.
Yes, I was told that as well. It didn't really help
Red
when I was vomiting and shitting at the same time for 48
Red
hours.
Actually, at the same time.
I was in.
Well,
yeah.
you're sitting on the bowl, shitting, and then throwing up in a bucket.
So
vice versa.
my Bali belly story. I'm still not sure how I got it. Forever, I thought it was I got a ham and cheese pizza, and that's what I initially thought. And then I don't know. I think I was gaslit into thinking I brushed my teeth in
I
the
thought-
water or showered and
Shower.
opened my mouth or something. I don't know. I don't remember any of that.
I feel like it's it would be like that much that would get you.
Oh. No, Balinese people don't drink tap water in Bali. According to Finn's Beach Club. The main authority on the club.
It's an
But
Australian-owned club.
I then went to sleep that night after the said pizza, and I don't know what happened, but to put it very briefly, for 48 hours straight, on the hour, every hour, I was vomiting. So I couldn't sleep much. And at one point, I was so sick that like it took me forever to get to the toilet.
Okay.
I ran to the toilet. Then I was in so much like agony and distress that it took me so long to like I'd finish up because you always think there's going to be more because you just want it out of you. So you spend about 20 minutes vomiting, and then you're like, okay, well that's done. And then by the time you walk back to bed and you're laid into bed, you look over at the clock and you're like, well that started 22 minutes ago, which means I've got about 8 minutes here of resting and recovery. And then you look over at the clock and you're like, here we go again. Jump up again, do it again. And so it got to the point where I was like, the walk back to the bed was consuming too much energy and I had nothing left in me that I bought the pillow and lay next to the toilet.
That's not good.
And Taylor at the time was getting up. Well, she was getting up initially, but after like a few hours, I think I just said,
don't worry about it.
yeah,
You have to
leave me.
remind
I'll
us.
go into
leave
bat
me.
by myself.
Yeah, leave
Because
me.
that's what they say. It's 1 vomit in the first hour and 2 every hour after that.
I ended up
Yeah.
getting a young doctor who, again, like you're calling Balinese doctors being like, fuck me dead. I have no idea what I've got going on. Like I don't have to see his certification or anything like that. He just rocked up and he goes, all right, you ready to go? I'm going to, do you mind if you just pull your pants down? I was like, this is what? Just put the camera crew away. And then I had to pull my,
What?
yeah, because he shoots you in the ass.
Oh,
Like
I don't
just-
know about that.
Yeah, he just hit me, like with a needle, in the tush, in the old pouch.
work?
What does that do?
That knocks you out so he can have his way with it.
That cleared me up within 12 hours. I felt fine. Like he just fixed me like that. I don't know what's in that.
See-
I would almost be taking that as a precaution.
Yeah,
I think it cost me like $400. Fucking stick that in me.
See, that's the thing. Like, everyone at my work and stuff has been like, oh, are you excited to go to Bali?
Nah.
I'm like, no, actually. I'm actually scared. And they're like, why? I'm like, the impending doom of feeling probably one of the worst I've ever felt in 5 days. That is...
I pray you don't get it
And
because
then-
you're pretty dramatic.
And then people get there and then they're like, yeah, get these doctors and stuff. I'm like, they don't even really offer that service in the first world country we live in.
Well, because we don't have...
We don't have
Bali
water.
belt.
that we
Yeah,
can
no,
get
but like
from.
if I feel sick, like you can't just really call up a doc and then have an IV delivered to your house.
Yeah, the IV stuff is
Like
weird.
what? You see photos of like my mates, like when they've been there previously, dead on the ground with an IV thing in, and this little man injecting it in their arm. I'm like, yeah, sick. Let's all go there.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's $50 cheaper per day than going to Japan.
Yeah, bro, it's so cheap, bro. It's like, yeah,
But you might die. And you hate every
You
minute
can
of
also
it.
just go to the hospital and lick a cigarette.
and then you can't even like drink a cocktail these days over there. It's just
Yeah,
like,
it's all a bit hairy.
what are you gonna?
You can drink them.
Everyone's like, yeah,
Why
bro.
not live?
This might be your last thing
Yeah.
to do.
It's good, bro. We're just gonna be drinking like
They,
pina coladas by the pool all the week, bro. I'm
really
like, no,
puts-
I'll be drinking the sealed beer. Probably.
Yes, correct.
It
Well, that's
really
what-
puts
one that
a
I can
new,
read.
a new sting on last drinks.
what Sam Benson mentioned exactly what you said. Everything but beers will give you barley belly, so just lean into the beers.
Yeah, but they need to be the right ones.
Yeah, make sure they're close.
like,
the
can
bing
you
tanks are
drink-
good. Have a bing tank.
Yeah, I'll definitely be getting 40 vintangs.
Yeah.
For the first day.
Steph Christie, she's just very intelligent. She's probably a bit of an outlier amongst our community because she's a bit like mature and smart and
Yeah, definitely.
not trying to like kill us. She just said get travel insurance, which is a
Yeah,
nice,
got that.
He's got.
nice sound piece of advice.
I think.
Um,
Yeah,
there
right.
you go. So
You'll have a great time once
Yeah.
the shitting ends.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, should I just take a gulp of water on the first day I get there?
nah,
That way.
wouldn't have done that. Definitely wouldn't be
No,
doing
that's
that.
probably, yeah.
But then at least I'll have a week of after that where I'm probably in the
no,
clear.
you're not immune.
Nah, yeah, it
Don't
doesn't.
think that.
Yeah, you don't
So you can get it
acclimatise.
twice
You
in
just
one.
heard what he said. The people
Even
in
they
Bali,
can't drink it.
Yeah.
So like theoretically I could get it on the first day, then I could get it on the 4th day, then I could get it on the 7th day, and then I could get it on the 9th day.
what an itinerary! That sounds like a real plan. Enjoy. Alrighty, boys, it's time for our favourite weekly segment. It's our only weekly segment. It's time for our Everyday Hero and our Joey Boy. It's all yours.
Yep.
Joey's been doing so many heroes. We mentioned this off the pod.
Yeah, get the tally out, bro.
Joey.
You'd be killing
Yeah.
it.
You've stopped riding the tally, have you?
Yeah, I just got my hand hurt of
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, I reckon, Joe, you delivered one last week. I think you delivered one the week before
2
that.
weeks ago, 2 weeks before that.
He's just in charge. Joey's out here hero.
Really, in a way, like, I can.
I wouldn't be. Don't nominate yourself yet again. Have you won two? No, you
No,
won
just
one.
once.
No, just
which is still too many for the
I've
host.
won one as well. Joe's won one. There's only one member of the show
Yeah,
who
he
is
has it.
yet to do so.
Anyway, on to my hero, who's not Jake. It actually, dare I say, brings us back full circle to the bowl.
Oh, we're back at the bowl.
Back to the bowl.
That
Star-Spangled Banner, yeah,
No one really knows.
And
That's wave, isn't it? And the home of the free.
No, then
Nah.
it's and.
Wait,
And the home,
home
of
of
the
the.
brave.
And
For the land of the free.
That's
and
it,
the home
for
of
the
brave.
land of the free.
And the
home of the. And that's when the fighter jets fly over.
Freedom!
Because nothing says freedom like fighter jets.
Yeah. And you just throw your heart out to the ground and over the back.
I actually don't know how they do that. It's crazy how they plan it.
What happened to the footy not that long ago? It happened to the cricket over the summer. And I genuinely thought, cool,
everyone.
this is the last day on earth.
Or it
Yeah,
also
it was
happened
nice.
at the Anzac Day clash.
Yeah, and they didn't
And they
tell any
mistimed
of the
it.
players either.
They mistimed it.
Pendlebury reckons he soiled himself.
Anyhow.
Anyway, the Super. This is tangentially related to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Hit us with it.
Because I get into work today, and I've actually moved where I sit at work.
Okay.
There's been a
exciting.
bit of movement because, not to like flame this guy out or whatever, but I had my usual spot, and then we hired this new guy.
Any
Right.
Lovely guy and stuff, but he has this like keyboard that's like his own
Oh.
keyboard. It's like his massive keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And you're like, we have hot desking, so like technically you're not meant to like leave stuff at your desk, but he like leaves his keyboard
Nice.
at his desk,
King.
which used to be my desk.
Right.
So
Yeah,
now-
you should just jump on and start using his keyboard.
WASD.
Yeah.
You should just use his keyboard.
Now I sit in a little corner with like there's some young people,
Nice. How young?
like my age.
Okay. Still legal. I'll allow it.
There's
Gotta be
two
careful.
guys
It's appropriate.
in this new area that I've moved to. There are two guys who sit in front of me. They're my like, as Riley would say, desk neighbor, but on the front.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking towards you.
Yeah, but we have like a wall thing.
Okay.
We're not
Yeah.
just like
That you put up.
staring yearningly into
Your
our
laptop's on his knees.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
laptop's
yeah,
on
it's like
your
this. Yes.
Oh, that's not my trackpad.
Yeah. Our mouse is interconnect.
Sounds like you're in love with him. What's happening?
Now, so there are two older guys who sit across from me. They would be like maybe in their 50s.
Okay.
Okay.
And they are like, to me, the Bert and Ernie
Oh,
of the
okay.
office.
Oh,
right.
that's chill.
Are they gay lovers? Isn't that what Bert and Ernie were for a long time?
Best friends, man.
Oh, okay.
Best
Fair enough.
friends.
Well, who knows? It's 2025,
Inseparable
man. You can
buddies.
do whatever the fuck you want.
Inseparable buddies.
I love
And they're
that.
also like, they get up to a bit of hijinks.
I bet they do.
Like today,
Fuck
for
yeah.
example, they were both
In the toilet together.
they were both nowhere to be seen.
Oh, fuck yeah. They were in the toilet together.
Because it was the Super Bowl day.
Super Bowl.
And they talk about, they both follow American football.
Oh, cool. Good on them.
Why?
Lads.
Yeah,
They
they-
watch AFL as well?
Yeah, they love AFL. Yeah, one of them he goes for Collingwood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm back on his side.
And
When were you not? When the Bert and Ernie stuff happened?
yeah, right. Really got a sour face when I said that.
Because I was all about it the whole time.
It got me excited.
And yeah, so they weren't there today because they're both at home. And then
Oh, right. Smart.
At
yeah.
the same home?
Well, they live
Because-
together. Yeah, with a happy family. No, not
with their two sons
yeah, yeah.
who were also dating.
Named Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, they both were missing today. And there's a few times I've noticed now because they sit. Before I was always like, oh yeah, those two guys, classic workmates. You know, they always sit together.
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that. Especially in more mature adults as friends. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and they both like worked there for ages, I think. And then there's been a few times where I've noticed like you like walk in, and only like one of them will be there.
Right.
And you can, even though most of the time they like mainly just work together as well.
They're trying to play it off.
So like they'll be like, even though one of them's not there, they'll be like having calls with each other
Because
because
they're in love, yeah.
How's your lunch going?
But whenever only one of them is there, you can tell like the other one's not having as good of a day.
Yeah,
Aw.
that's fair.
And yeah, so stuff like that happens, and you really notice like they're like really flat. But the reason why they're getting everyday hero, obviously, just being workmates, is like being
Fuck,
iconic.
it's a low bar in 2025, isn't it?
No, but that's not why they're getting the hero. They're getting the everyday hero because they have a bit of a cult status with the people who get to work early.
Okay.
Because they get to work very early. Like they're like by 2:30, whatever. They're at home.
What?
But what time are they getting?
They get in
there?
around 6:30.
Win the morning, win the day.
Yeah, and they get in early, and then
Together?
no, not together. They don't live together.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But they get in
They can
early.
still, to organise.
Old people love getting there early.
A lot of people at my work do get there very early, but these two get here the earliest. And when it's just the two of them there, they play loud, like heavy metal rock music out loud.
That's cool.
And I've heard because a few of my mates,
What do they actually do? What's their job?
Make out, mainly.
yeah, kisses.
Like, your job is like accounting and
Stats and
Yeah.
data and nerdy
like
stuff.
what do they do?
They work in supply chain.
It's like
That does not help at all. What does that mean?
procurement.
Procurement, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they doing
Procurement, supply
merch?
chain.
They get like
They do merch.
Yeah, they get
They do like they'll walk down to Ozpost.
It's
and
like
sort of
you'll be
send the
like
hats out when they interview me.
you'll be like I need a new pen and they'll be like I'll get 500 of them.
More for like bigger stuff,
yeah,
like
like,
Oh,
organising the
like-
logistics
yeah,
of
novel-
how we're getting
keyboards.
novelty
stocks.
pens.
Yeah, like those giant
funny,
fakes.
funny side.
Yeah. They've actually been working on sort of like a funny nose that squeaks.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Oh, well,
yeah.
you know, innovation. I like it.
Yeah, I actually have. There's two blokes at my work who are in charge of that as well,
Why? What?
and they're always only there from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m.
These guys have two jobs.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. There.
Yeah.
No, but I have the exact same dynamic. There's like a 40-year-old guy and a 50-year-old guy, and they used to sit next to each other, but they've gotten moved around now. So
That's sad.
yeah, it was really sad.
And it is
Divorce
funny.
hurts.
I was
a fair-
against it, but it wasn't.
It is funny with guys like
choice.
that, especially if
young
they've
days to
been
sit-
in.
yeah.
They've like worked at the same company for ages, and you have to think like part of the reason is because they don't want to leave them.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
Yeah.
Well, I had a bit of a partnership with a young lad who I used to work with,
yeah.
and we very much had a very similar situation. And like,
Yeah,
we
the
would
summer
just,
of love.
we would like, there was definitely days where I could have called in sick, and so could have he. But it was just like, do not leave another soldier in the lodge.
Yeah,
Do not leave another soldier in the to the point where like we would plan when we were going to lunch and just I don't know, just like
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bits and pieces. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'll definitely be back. So like, stick fat for 31 minutes. Yeah.
yeah. You can do it, brother. But yeah, but then I heard because a few of the young guys who I work with, they do get in early as well, and they've like heard the rock music.
Fuck yeah.
But then
That's cool.
I
Do they turn it down like awkwardly, like when someone walks in?
Well, then I overheard another one of the ladies saying that they're like, oh yeah, those two guys, they play their rock music until around 7, sometimes a bit later.
What a way
Or
to
7,
start.
7:30.
So
They're
fucking-
getting up at 5 a.m., getting there
Yeah.
at 6 a.m. and just going.
Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, I think they play it until around 7:30. So it's like this whole early bird work culture that
That's
these
cool.
guys are
Good
doing.
on
Oh,
them.
and also one of them is in a band.
Oh,
They have to
And
be.
the other day I overheard
Are we
the
going?
other
When
one-
are we going to their gig?
I don't know if they still do gigs, but they have their musics on YouTube and stuff. I was actually considering getting a song to play on the radio.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
so right.
Because the other day I heard the guy talking to the one who's in the band, and he was like, mate, like, this is great stuff. Like, have you got this? If people heard this on TikTok or something, they'd love it. Like,
Yeah.
he was just hyping them. He's like, you guys could have really like, you guys could have been big. Like,
They still can. Who's
Yeah.
saying they can't?
His mate. He's
but yeah,
blind.
just for bringing in that early bird work culture, for being
Love it.
work best friends.
That's chill. And
Very
do
cool.
you get to chat to him much, or do you kind of just sit there and?
Watch.
yeah, I chat to him in the kitchen. During the footy season, I talked to the guy
Love it.
about Collingwood and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
intrigued. I love this. They seem like lovely lads,
Yeah,
and I like this little bro partnership they've got going.
Yeah.
I think that's really sweet.
that's cool.
It's very important, especially like I find I work at the moment with a lot of ladies. Like I would say 90% of the office is ladies.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take much to bond with a few of the lads. And like there's one or two lads in particular who you get on very well with, because like you don't have a great deal in common with some like. The ladies I work with, they don't even know what footy is,
Yeah.
let alone like who won.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is different working with people who are quite different for you, especially the age thing. I do notice. Like,
Yeah. And so to
it's
have
like-
someone when you're a little bit older as well, and
Yeah.
you've been around for a while,
Yeah, it's funny. But then there's some places you work where there's like a really old person that you become really boys with. Like,
Oh, yeah, for
when
sure.
you work in like retail or like, even when we used to work at the movie cinema, there's like old people that you kind of just like, rock up to work and you're like, damn, where's Gaz?
Yeah, there's one other
Gaz out
there's
today,
one other
bro?
guy at my work who's a lot older, but he always comes over and asks me stuff about the tech stuff. And even one of the young people goes, man, he comes over here. I'm like, yeah, he's like my best work friend.
That's so sweet. No, it's very important to have some good friendly colleagues that you get on with. So this week's Everyday Hero is going to the Bert Ernie of
Ernie.
Joey's little work clique. We love it. Keep it up, lads. Alrighty, boys, that just about brings us to the end of another episode of the MacPack podcast.
Big announcement.
Huge announcement.
Seconds away, guys.
Yep,
It's imminent.
Get your ears ready for this bombshell.
This is an announcement that an announcement is coming in a matter of a second.
This is the teaser for the teaser.
Next week, Riley is obviously going away.
Bombshell.
As previously mentioned, we have pre-recorded an episode.
Bombshell.
We were very fortunate to pre-record an episode
Fortunate.
with one of our favourite Australian comedians,
Yes, one of.
in Luke Heggie.
Let's go.
Luke Heggie will be joining us on the podcast next week. We've already recorded the episode, so the episode sounds absolutely fantastic. We know a lot of belly laughs. Not necessarily,
big laughs.
not necessarily just from us either. There was a few proper belly laughs from the king of comedy himself.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've been watching Luke Heggie's stand up for years now.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
just under a decade.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. So when we got the opportunity to,
Perch up.
mate, and then interview him,
Yeah.
we were so excited.
It was great. There's one moment in the episode where he does like a proper big laugh about something that we were nervous
Very nervous.
for it to be seen by him.
Yes. Heard.
We can probably explain. It's the game. We play a game when we get a guest on.
I thought it'd be cool to be like, no. Anyway, fuck
we
it.
get a when we get a
To not spoil the show for everyone.
when we get a guest on. We get a guest on, we play a game with them, and usually that's like the most of us that anyone will ever see, and it's quite an embarrassing moment. And
Because we
unfortunately,
usually take our shorts off at that point.
for you guys, I didn't do this one, so it was quite a bit more embarrassing just for you two. But he loved it.
He loved it. He loved the game.
A lot of big laughs. So make sure you're tuning in next week. Luke Heggie is an absolute champion.
And if you haven't heard of Luke Heggie yet, throw him in your Google and you'll probably recognise him after he starts speaking.
Yeah, watch some of his stand up. He's
very funny.
So
he's
funny.
one of the cleverest writers, I think, in Australia.
Yeah,
It's just like every line is like,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he spoke about sort of the craft of that, and how he's just so dry. Like I've licked walls that were wetter than Luke Heggie. Like he is just so.
And
his
when you
humour-
licked him to see,
his humor is so dry, and that's what makes it so funny because it looks like he doesn't want to be out there. He looks bored at all
Yeah.
times.
yeah,
And that's like where the humor lies.
he looks like it. When you watch him, it's like a thing that it's like it's coming to him at the moment.
Yeah.
but it's so
Polished.
because the way he says it is so like natural.
Yeah.
yeah, he's good.
No, he's fantastic. He's a tradie for many, many years. He worked as a labourer. He's also incredibly smart. He was like a...
Not to say that tradies aren't smart.
No, not at all. But he's also like, he's got tertiary... Well, he went to... I know a few. He went to uni. He went to university when he was young and then like did his masters and everything and then ended up teaching at university and then was like, oh, I'm fucking bored
And then he
of
worked
this.
in marketing for a little bit.
And then he went and worked as a labourer. So like,
Bricky's labourer.
He's done it all.
there's...
His favourite job out of all that? Bricky's labourer.
Yeah. But he does talk about a few of his jobs over the journey from when he was working in office to when he was outside to comedy.
So funny. He talks
Um,
about doing stand-up gigs for like corporate events
Yeah.
with like tradies and like people who work in the mines and stuff. That shit was so funny.
And we obviously, me and Riley as budding comedians, asked him a little bit about the craft, which was
Yes.
great to get his point of view on. And then right after,
Well, this was the exciting bit because they were doing a raw comedy event, which for those playing along at home is like very junior amateur comics wanting to like get some reps
yeah,
in.
Part
Right?
of
beginners.
the Perth
It's a beginner
Fringe.
competition.
It's part of the Perth Fringe Festival.
Correct. Would go along and they can compete. It's like an actual competition. And we ended up dropping him and another comedian, Chris Ryan, who we were staying with in Perth, who were doing shows together. We ended up
Legends.
dropping them to the train station. Mind you, I think
Sort
we
of.
ended up. So they would have been
Jake-
better.
We
Missed
missed
the turn.
Wellington.
Well,
Jake was on directions and then put his phone in his pocket for some
Yeah,
reason.
we
Well,
were
there
meant
was
to drop
other
them
And
excitement
then
at-
we arrived at
going on.
Elizabeth Quay and I was like,
Yeah,
I reckon
we were
we've
going to
got
drop at
past.
Yagan Square, so it didn't really pan out. But them not being
don't
from
know
here
where we
said, "Thank you very much, good sir."
They said, that's right, we should be able to walk it. And we all were like, no, you won't.
Really?
And
That's
they,
far.
and they invited the boys to come and do the raw comedy set.
Yes.
So they quickly bashed home. We got some of us got shoes, some of us didn't, and then we went back to Fremantle.
Picked up our scripts.
as we quickly re-memorized our peak comedy script.
And then we sat and watched the boys along with, what was there, like 10 other comics all
Yeah,
give their
decent
best
amount,
5 minutes as part of the Raw comedy show, which was fantastic, and so stoked for them to like bend a few rules and let the boys in as well, because
Yeah,
it was very
it was
last.
cool to do it again.
It couldn't have been more last minute. The only way it could have been more last minute is if we were at the Fed, saw him, and he was like, "Come upstairs."
Yeah.
So no, that was really fantastic. And then we were fortunate enough to sit down and watch him do a set as well, which was really good fun as well. He's just dominating. Him and Chris,
Yeah.
actually, they were both fantastic.
And he is coming back in May.
He is.
To do his proper.
is he?
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, because the
That's
Perth
huge.
Comedy Festival will be then. But we've got so many people across Australia. Literally just punch Luke Heggie into the Google machine and all the information will come up on dates and everything. We also make mention to him in the podcast next week. So stay tuned for that. But he's an absolute superstar. Hopefully we catch up with him when he comes back to Perth in a couple months.
We'll have to.
Yep.
Knowing him, we'll be doing an hour, Joey.
Boys, it has been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy your Bali trip.
Yep.
Because when you do get back, we'll be unpacking all of that, no doubt.
Yep. That'll
And
be
hopefully you would have finished unpacking all your bowels by then.
me. It'll either be unpacked on here or a 60-minute segment.
Yeah.
So let's find out.
Joey, anything from you? What are you up to? We got a few weeks off.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be chilling it, bruh.
Huge.
Actually, 1 week when I was away, I'm going down south. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually
Have you cleared that with HR?
with HR. Yeah, because we went. Yeah, guys, I put the
Will your
application in.
ankle bracelet let you go that far though?
Who
At
knows?
what
It's
point
good to
does
test the boundaries.
At what point does it start beeping? Just around the school. Right?
Around schools.
Yeah, so if you go down the freeway, you should be alright.
Hopefully, let's find out. Hopefully, the reception dies. And I can finally live my life.
Boys, until we do this in a couple of weeks' time, stay safe, stay blessed, and always remember to.
Go give your mum a hug.
It's Jeff for now. Bye, Offering.